trying to think of other good Marvel. Then again, the creative team with the Marvel Cinematic Universe can take uninteresting villains and make them really interesting.
That is true.
Like, especially the Netflix team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Netflix Kingpin might be my favorite interpretation of Kingpin ever.
Oh, that's cool. I should probably watch that stuff sometime, but I don't know. I don't watch series that often just because I'm usually doing artwork.
Daredevil Season 1 is worth a look. I mean, I didn't give a shit. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, this thing's a great monster sprite. Look at that.
Yeah,
it is so fucking cool. Like, and watch its attack animation when that happens. Like, oh man, this is one of my favorite bosses in the game.
Okay, so I'm trying to break this down. It's got a horrifying nightmare worm mouth.
Yes.
Oh, and there's a...
Yes, it does.
Oh, and it's a 6-point mouth, not a 3-point.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's got the armor plating. Like, the one weirdness I have with it is it doesn't look like the balls are really connected to each other.
Yeah, Super Nintendo games did that a lot. Like,
yeah.
I think the worst offender was Joe and Mac, where the balls actually straight up separated.
Like, looking at it from the design, it looks like the softer underbelly should connect.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it's a bunch of balls bouncing on each other as opposed to being connected with the way the sprites are drawn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the case. But still, it's like fucking awesome.
And it has little spouts on the side?
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
that's what I was talking about.
That design is awesome.
Yeah. And the best thing is, you're getting this as an ingredient for food.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of what you were saying where, oh, what does this have to do with the plot?
Mm-hmm. Not much.
What is this thing in relation to the rest of the world? It's fucking cool is what it is. Shut up.
Exactly. Like, okay, we're gonna make them collect bugs. Let's make these bugs look like the coolest fucking things ever.
Alright.
Yeah? Yeah, you were talking about Netflix Marvel stuff.
Yeah, the Daredevil is definitely worth checking out. I didn't give a shit about Daredevil before that Netflix series.
Okay.
But that Netflix series is really good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Jessica Jones, most certainly. Like, especially for people like us that really like examining character and story and shit like that.
Right.
And breaking down motivation.
Yep.
And also another example of them taking a pretty boring character from the comics and turning him into a fucking amazing screen presence.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Cage.
Yeah, I've heard that's kind of average.
I dig the actor that plays Luke Cage. He was fucking amazing in Jessica Jones. He was such a dick.
Yep.
But like, I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness. I feel like halfway through a series, if your character's big theme is like, oh, he can't be shot, inventing a bullet that can shoot him feels like a cop-out.
Yeah. Find other ways around that.
What's disappointing is there's even a character that's like, we can't shoot him. Well, then drown him, choke him, nail him down. I don't care. If his skin is invincible, find another weakness. It's like, find a way to deal with him. And they're like, no, we're just going to get these magic bullets that can shoot him.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Lame.
Yeah, well, it's defeating the purpose of the character.
Yeah. And granted, the whole problem of, crap, he needs medical attention, how the fuck do we do that when we can't penetrate his skin?
Right.
It's like, that's a cool thing. It would have been cooler if you hadn't already done it in Jessica Jones. It's like, we have been through this exact scenario before.
Yeah.
It's like, alright. And the final confrontation just being him and some guy having a fight in the street while a crowd cheers them on. It's like that's really counter to all of the other finales that are so much better written.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that it's like it's entertaining, but that's it. There's not much to it.
It's entertaining, has a couple of good moments, but I feel like a lot of the social commentary they put in it is kind of ham-fisted.
Right.
Like, these are discussions we should be having, but this is kind of a dumb way to go about doing it.
Right. So it's like Marvel Comics right now, then.
Kind of. I feel like the Marvel Comics is taking a shotgun to social issues. Where it's really scattershot. Some of it's done really well. Some of it's very interesting. A lot of it's not.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is just like, I am going to say a thing that is very clearly the author's opinion on this issue.
Fucking mouthpiece characters.
I hate that shit. It's so bad.
And granted, Marvel has a long-standing tradition of doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
The most cringeworthy and embarrassing is probably the 9/11 response comic they did.
I never saw that one.
Oh my god, it even has like Magneto and Doctor Doom going like, this has gone too far. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Both of you pull this kind of shit every other week in this universe.
Yeah, like fucking daily basis.
Doom, you're basically Mecha Stalin. Why does 3,000 people dead mean anything to you? Yeah. Spider-Man. Definitely. Iron Man, sure. The Fantastic Four, like all the heroes. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense why they're freaking out like this.
Yeah.
Doom? No, he shouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Don't have your villains come out and do that, especially when they're genocidal maniacs.
Yeah, no shit, Jesus. I'm glad I didn't read it then.
Oh god, it's kind of amazing in a very embarrassing kind of way.
Right. That's actually a perfect word for it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, you could handle this so much better, and yet you chose to do it this way. Why did you choose to do it this way?
Don't know. Mysteries of the Universe.
Yep, sounds about right.
Some executive thought it was a good idea and rushed out the door before anyone could think about it more than 2 seconds.
Honestly, I would imagine that's the writer's fault. Like, because I would imagine probably it was just this gut reaction. It's like, I have to say something, and I'm going to say it this way, because I just kind of have to. I feel the need to do this, and like, oh, won't it have an impact if these horrible characters still have a conscience?
Even these guys think this is too far.
They're probably mimicking what that, what people point to as a good point of characterization for the Joker. I think it's like him talking about a pedophile and saying, even I have standards.
Shit, my headphone fell out.
Yeah, so that one cuts off a bit abruptly because I didn't want to just record walking back to this place again.
Wow. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, with characterization moments, I was actually watching a pretty good video on this talking about how little characterization moments are the big difference between a very interesting character, especially an interesting villain, and just a very cookie-cutter stock character.
Yeah.
Because just little moments that tell you more about who this character is as a person. Like their weird eccentricities, their standards, their morals.
Right. Like I was talking about the Joker thing last episode. And,
yeah. You can have a character like the Joker that feels like this completely amoral character that doesn't care, but then to give them some kind of moral code, especially if you keep it a consistent code.
Right. Like, and it doesn't even have to be much. It can just be a small thing that, like, most of humanity agrees on.
Right. It's especially powerful if it's something the audience can relate to. Like, anytime you find yourself watching a villain and you're horrified at the actions, but then you stop and think, in their shoes, I would do the same.
Right.
I feel like you've hit a home run with a villain.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Where it's either...
But when you can't understand why they would do it, like,
yeah,
that's, I don't know. Then you have a politician. Oh! Yeah, like, that is definitely a good way to talk about characterization for villains, because, like, villains are hard. Like, I think they're harder than heroes because they're just so much harder to relate to.
Well, you either have your force of nature villain or you have your character villain.
Right. Well, I mean, force of nature villain isn't that hard to do. But the character villain is ridiculously difficult. Because you have to walk this tight...
Hello?
Hi, you have to walk this tightrope.
Yeah.
You not hearing me?
No, I hear you.
Okay.
You just cut off randomly, and I'm just like...
Alright, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, you just said you have this tight...
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's strange.
Anyway. Yeah, like... Okay, so you have your force of nature villains that are just like, okay, the villain is literally just an obstacle for the characters to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
They can look like another sentient being, they can speak words, they can deliver messages, and appear to have a will of their own.
Mm-hmm.
But for all intents and purposes, you could remove them and replace them with anything that does the same actions, and your story won't change too dramatically.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you have your Saturday morning villains, where it's just, I'm going to rule the world because I'm evil.
Yes, mui-hee-hee.
I have gathered all of these puppies together exclusively to kick them.
Mm-hmm. And then afterwards I will place them in a bag and I shall drown them. Wahahaha.
I adopted them before the orphans could get there because fuck them.
And now I will... And then he waits for the heroes to come in and say, stop right there, villain.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. And
are the heroes the Oblivion characters? Or Oblivion guards? Yeah.
They have the powers of arrows that go straight to knees.
Yeah, perfect. Someone should make a game where you play as one of those guards.
That'd be amazing. I would love to play that mod.
It would be interesting.
Just kick down the door. Stop right there, criminal scum. I saw you look at an item you didn't own.
Mm-hmm.
Kick down the door. Stop right there, criminal scum. You have skooma on you. You thought it was an alchemical ingredient, but it's drugs. Stop right there, criminal scum. You're an Argonian in the non-Argonian district.
This is perfect.
But yeah,
stop right there, criminal scum! I saw you sneaking around and you accidentally clicked a person trying to talk to them, but instead you went into the pickpocket menu.
You tried to say a word, but you stuffed your hand down their pants instead. A common but fatal mistake.
Yes.
Stop right there, criminal scum! I tried to talk to you, and you tried to back out of the menu to check to see if you had enough gold to pay the fine. I'm assuming you're resisting arrest to the death.
Perfect programming.
Nah.
Real characters.
You reached for the wallet. He's trying to draw a weapon! But yeah, getting back onto the subject of villains.
Yeah.
Then you have your character villains, and they're the hard ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because they need to make some degree of internal sense.
Yeah.
Like, Griffith from Berserk is really good in that regard.
Oh, hell yeah.
What is his name? Saren from Mass Effect is really good because he honestly believes he's the good guy and he's in the right up until the very end.
Yep.
Like, he is 100% convinced you're the one fucking up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you're destroying the galaxy, I'm going to save it. And you're like, no fucking dumbass, you've been brainwashed.
Yeah.
And then if your charisma's up high enough, he's like, oh my god, you're right, and he fucking shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
And you skip the first half of that boss fight. It's glorious.
That is pretty impressive, yeah.
I love RPGs where dialogue choices can make you skip entire phases of boss fights.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I wish RPGs would involve dialogue choices more often that would, like... I think that's one of the reasons I liked Undertale so much. Like, you can skip combat just by talking to someone.
Yeah.
It's something that just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way of approaching things, and I do love games that do that, but the trick is you have to write your story very carefully then, because there will be situations that you just can't talk your way out of.
Right, of course.
Like, if you could talk your way out of all of your situations, you would end up just being the purple man, and just whatever you say, people will do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other really good character villains, though.
Yeah. Breath of Fire 3 and 4 actually have some very good character villains. And actually, 5 does too, Dragon Quarter. So there's that. Breath of Fire 2, like, the end boss is a force of nature villain. But characters leading up to that point are actually pretty decent character villains. I mean, for
I
what
feel
this
like
game
JRPGs do that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, some of the Final Fantasies are the worst offenders in this regard. Like,
Final Fantasy IX.
Oh, God.
One of the best character villains, and then it dropped him.
It's like, yeah, the character villain is the penultimate boss. Who's the ultimate boss? This fucker who just shows up.
Some random dude who's like, I am death incarnate or something. Or no, I am non-existence incarnate. Oh yeah? Well, we're gonna beat you up. Okay. No!
Just gonna kick your teeth in, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's what we've been doing.
The avatar of this concept. It's like, do you have teeth? Yes. Why? Okay, we're gonna kick them in. Can you choke on them? Well, let's find out.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, that was such a disappointing ending of that game.
Well, a bunch of Final Fantasy do that. Like, Final Fantasy VIII?
Yeah?
Ultimisia just comes out of fucking nowhere?
Yeah, like, you've been going after Edea the entire time, and then it's like, oh, but Edea was your matron, and then it's like, oh, well, like, we have to kill her, that sucks, and then you don't, and then
you beat her, and it's like, oh, she wasn't actually the villain.
Yeah. It's like, okay, thanks. Like, when you don't meet the villain, or don't see anything that the villain's done up until the final battle, then, like, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, and that's such a common thing in RPGs, too. Like, Dragon's Dogma, which I just recently beat.
Yeah. Like,
the final boss of that is essentially God, and you, the player, have met this person before, but your character never has, and it's this big reveal, like, it was me all along, and your character's like, okay.
Yeah, who are you?
Who are you? And it's like, okay. And it took me like a solid minute and a half to realize who this person was. I'm like, wow, that's actually really fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yep.
My initial thought would have been way cooler, but no, it's this fucker. Cool.
Yeah. Now, I do have to give this game a little bit of credit, though, because the guy doesn't come out of nowhere, like the ultimate final boss, doesn't come out of nowhere and, doesn't really have a point. He's actually very much related to the previous game.
Okay.
It's just that, like, you don't really know who the ultimate bad guy is until you get through the final dungeon. Or, well, I guess up to the final dungeon. Like, right before you enter, they'll basically tell you, this is the nasty dude, and this is the reason everything's been happening. But, like, you kind of just go and do things, and you solve problems, and the problems just escalate more and more as the game goes on, until finally you're at this part, and it's like, okay, this is why all this shit has been happening. Let's go beat the crap out of him. But, like, you never meet him until you have to fight him.
Okay. See, I feel like that can work very effectively in two different ways. You can either do it the, like, JoJo Part 5 route, or I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff, just nothing coming to mind immediately.
Yeah.
Where you're constantly hearing about the villain. And people are talking about the villain, and they're hyping him up.
Right.
But you don't know anything about the villain until you get to the villain. Or it was this guy all along, and you don't see it coming.
Right.
Like the usual suspects bit, where at the end, all the pieces come together. And when you have that flashback moment where it's like showing you all the clues they dropped along the way, that's when that really works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ah, shit, Kaiser Soze.
Yep. Well, in this case, you don't really hear about him until right before the final dungeon. But his effects you're aware of. So that might count as the first case you were talking about. I don't know. I think it works well enough, but that might also be nostalgia clouding it, so I'll let you figure it out. But yeah, like stuff happens in this game. Like some real brutal stuff happens in this game. And so your emotions are high and you're like, all right, who the fucks do I have to kick? Well, whose teeth do I have to kick in now? Because I am pissed and I don't know who to take out my aggression on.
Okay, that's always a fun emotion in games.
Yes.
All right, addendum to the first type I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the ones where characters are hyping it up and you know you're going to have to deal with this guy.
Yeah.
Like Dio in Stardust Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what he's capable of, but you know he's a fucking badass and you know you're going to have to deal with him.
Yes.
The flip side of that, and I think the even better version of that is, they build up somebody as lore, where it's like, this is part of the mythology of this world. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, A, he's real, B, you need to fight him.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, fuck! Shit!
Yeah.
Oh like, god, I don't want to do this!
Yeah, this is not a good idea.
Like, oh crap, you mean the badass of all badasses? I have to deal with that guy? Shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Dark Souls. If you go in Dark Souls 1 blind, like you're given the bios of all the gods essentially right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then halfway through the game, it's like, by the way, you need to go kill these guys.
It's like,
and at the very end, the god you thought was dead, it's like, no, he's not dead yet. Guess what your job is?
Yeah.
It's like, you kidding me? That guy killed literally all of the dragons. I fought like 3 and they were all really badass.
Yep, this might be a little difficult.
And the big reveal in 3 where it's like, yeah, his disowned son, the god of war. Yeah, guess who that fucker is over there? On the dragon. Go fight him.
Nice.
It's like, oh good, I finally killed the dragon. Shit, now he's getting for real.
Yeah.
I've been on the record several times, my thoughts on dragons. I'm not a huge fan of dragons. Mm-hmm. I think they're overplayed. But I still think a really effective way to prove how badass a character is put him on a dragon.
Yeah.
And make him the threat.
They're overused because they're just so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, they've been hyped up so much, and so, you know what? Use it. I mean, they're a functional tool, so you may as well use them. It's just, you have to use them right if they're not going to be obnoxious and or boring.
Yeah. And you have to be creative with it, too. Like, you can't just drop a dragon in there and think, well, that's it for that. Time to go kick off for an early lunch.
Yeah, there's my spectacle. This is gonna carry the story. Now, if you drop a dragon in there, and it's just a dragon for a little bit, and then a fucking Shoggoth pops out of it, it's like, alright, now we got something going on here. Yeah, this is interesting. Or you're fighting a dragon, and then halfway through the fight, a bigger, nastier, toothier dragon just shows up and eats it, and now you're fighting that thing. Yeah, that would be cool too. Or in Breath of Fire's case, all the dragons are fucking pussies. Like, they have a lot of power, but they're almost all extinct because reasons. That happens in, like, almost all of the games. The lore is, all of the dragons are pretty much gone. Dragons are the ultimate badasses. Why aren't they any here anymore? They goofed. Yep. They all done goofed. Yep. Well, if you recall my synopsis of Breath of Fire 1, the Dark Dragons, they were still around, but the Light Dragons weren't. Because
the light dragons
decided to disarm and get rid of their dragon powers.
In the middle of a conflict.
Yeah, and then they fled. Yeah, there we are. Damn.
Damn it.
Yep. And as a kid, I was totally shocked to see that because I didn't think they allowed cuss words at all in Super Nintendo games. And I have a feeling it was slipped by the censors because, like, who's going to play this whole game just to determine whether it's acceptable in the United States or not?
Well, there's that, and there's also, like, back then, in the 80s and 90s, censorship was a lot different.
Yeah, but they didn't allow damn in just about anything.
Well, I remember the Transformers movie had shit in it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Although I think video games and movies were different, too.
A little bit.
Like, movies, you could slip something like that in, and I think they had a quota on how many you could do. But, like, Nintendo itself put in a whole bunch of the standards for this sort of thing.
Okay.
And so, like, I think Nintendo of America was the one who decided what could be localized and how. Which, again, baffles me how this game made it through with its localization. Because there's just so much stuff. Like, I think the only thing this game doesn't have is a straight-up fucking cross. But they do have a character held up as if she's being crucified. It's just that she's not on anything, she's being held by magic.
Yeah. I think some of it gets through with, like, Nimufu gets through because it's
yeah, that's
English.
Just a name. Yeah, it's weird English name.
Yeah, it's English, and English wasn't it's not the well-known, I can auto-translate this in my brain that it is now.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't happen until mid-2000s.
No, I'm talking more about, like, the fact that they say the word kill, and die and stuff like that, because that was a big no-no back then. But they also show, like, a lot of weird religious things, and, like, Saint Eva, the Church of Saint Eva, is basically the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And so, to get that by the censors, I have no idea how they did it. And I'm glad they did, but I don't know how they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you do have a point there.
Maybe I should look that up, see how the fuck it happened. Because I bet there's a story somewhere.
Yeah.
Obviously, I won't be doing it right now, but
of course.
If I do find it, I'll talk about it in a later episode.
Ooh, goody.
Yeah.